all of this dating is a waste of time, because while you're sitting there talking about your cat Fluffy and your last boyfriend and how he treated you and how nasty your boss is, we're sitting there thinking how you look naked.
Right.
That's what we're thinking about.
So in the wake of Kevin Samuels' passing, Tom Leykis, one of the OGs of the quote-unquote red pill space, one of the OGs of the whole 3 strikes send you out rule, the never date single mothers rule, and things like that. This current version of Tom Leykis is nothing like the Tom Leykis we remember him of decades past, where he would set ladies straight over the phone with guys as well and teach men how to get more tail for less money and less time, mind you. So that was Tom Leykis' goal. In recent years, his health hasn't been the best. He's gone underground or private radio and things like that, and he's just not the man we remember him to be. So unfortunately, that's what happens with age. You get older, you have to change your approach, things die, like Howard Stern as well. The guy's a complete fucking nutcase with his whole far left rhetoric now. So Howard Stern, again, a legend in his day, but now a product of a bygone era. Same with Tom Leykis. So that's a little intro for you there. But he had a tweet where he basically claimed that Kevin Samuels plagiarized his work, and that that's what you get for plagiarizing someone else's work in regards to his death. So without further ado, let's look at the tweet and read some comments and get a gauge for what the people are saying about this. Now, whilst there are a lot of tweets out here basically saying, dude, Tom, like, you are down so bad, like, what the fuck are you saying? I mean, how can you say someone plagiarized and stole your material when he referenced you multiple times over and over again? I mean, someone points out in the tweets, like, that's literally what a reference is. Saying something someone else has said and saying, I heard it from X person, citation, blah, blah, blah. That's a reference, dude. How hard is it to understand? I mean, in your old age, are you going senile? Have you lost the plot? Have you got old Joe Biden dementia or something to that effect? I don't know, Mr. Tom Leykis, you tell us. But anyways, some of the tweets, and the main one being, obviously, here's one saying, this is what you get when you make a living stealing other people's material. But a few pointed out some, well, logical fallacies with Tom's thinking. One being, my dad taught me to change oil on my car. I'm not allowed to teach anyone else because that's his material. Sound logic, bro. Tom replies, it's not the same and you know it. This is plagiarism. Completely unfair, Dad. He credited you so many times, I can't even count, man. He loved you. He did. And then Tom replies again, and he used my material. That is definitely unfair, credit or not. Damn, this is so bad. Tom changed my life and Kevin had a similar impact. He absolutely didn't steal your material. Now I've lost 2 dads. Shit. Someone says, facts, Tom is bitter that he hasn't been relevant in 15 years. I used to pay for his podcast, unsubscribed as of yesterday. Now, this is the interesting tweet here. This is an interesting part here because Kevin Samuels focused a lot on the black community. If I didn't say it already, I'm saying it now. His thing was the black community, but a lot of talking points overlapped with one another. The black community was his main focus. Now, this tweet here from Jay says, since we're talking about your material, can you please point me to or link your material that talks about black issues? You're the first person to talk about black issues after all. I'd love to hear your perspective since it's your material after all, right? Thank God for you. Another says, using someone's material and crediting them is literally what a reference is. Someone says something, X person said it, so all credit goes to them. That's using it as a reference. I don't know how he stole something. And by the way, they're not your talking points. They've been around from before you. Patrice O'Neill spoke about them. Eddie Murphy even referenced them in Raw back in the day. And hell, even the modern day equivalent of what you were talking about with Rollo Tomasi, and some would say a cross between black pill and things like that, looks and status and money and things like that. That's all that matters. So you can't say you came up with these concepts. They've been around longer than we've been around, okay? And when I say we, I mean the last 50 plus years as a civilization. In terms of males, when it comes to post-1960 anyways. This tweet here, Darren's Rickshaw, says, since it's your, quote, misogynistic material, unquote, you stand in the fire and take his heat, defend your stolen property to his critics and detractors, and especially to black women. No disrespect, Dad, but he didn't steal anyone's content. I watched him religiously and he shouted you out so many times. I considered Kevin the modern day Tom Leykis from the 90s and 2000s. Let's be fair here. I think that's a fair assessment. Now the final tweet I'll put out there, because as I just referenced the likes of Rollo Tomasi and a couple of others, a lot of people use this sort of stuff for their own channels and what they've based their personas on, right? So I use Rollo here because he's probably the most well known in the Red Pill space. After Tom Leykis, Patrice O'Neill, you'll probably say Rollo is the next person out there. I know a lot of people don't like him, but using him as a reference point, so don't get your panties in a twist, okay? But the tweet says, of all the white men in the mainstream manosphere that use and sell books and coaching off your content and never say your name, you pick the black guy who is in a body bag to say something about. Another person replies, he's about to get the attention he's so envious of for sure. I'm not saying this is a race thing at all, but you have to look at it. If Tom has spoken out about the other white dudes talking about Red Pill stuff, I haven't seen it. It's news to me. I would like to see it if there is such a thing. So with that all being said and done, Tom Leykis, let's be real, he did give us a great insight into men and women in the 90s and the 2000s when we didn't have internet. There was no social media, so all the information you gathered came from radio or TV, and you were limited with your channels as well and your radio stations. So thankfully we had that back then. I was a little bit young, but thankfully people saved these, put them out on the archives, and now you can listen to Leykis 101 for all your heart's content on YouTube. And for Tom Leykis' sake, if he ever comes across this, I will link a playlist to Leykis 101. Now, with the same thing being said, Patrice O'Neill with the Black Phillip show, when he was doing his thing as well, didn't last very long, but man, 2 to 4 hour long episodes on Opie and Anthony, 100% guaranteed as well. Again, listed down below in a playlist link, check that out. And look, let's be real here, Tom Leykis will leave himself a legacy behind. He's probably not far off leaving this earth as well. He's old now, the man's gone through health battles and things like that, so I mean, I'm not saying show pity on the man, but still, there's no need to, because he ain't going to be around for much longer. So in saying that, Tom Leykis, you did leave us a legacy. You left us some great things, great insight, great knowledge, but at the end of the day, they're just ideas that no one really owns, and we all build from something. No idea is original anymore. Everyone has ideas from somewhere else. So to say now that Kevin Samuel stole your shit and now you're upset because he gave you credit, but you're still unhappy at that, and you're saying he got what he deserved because the man's died now and he used your stuff, so that's okay? That's a pretty scummy thing to do. It's very effeminate if you ask me. Someone tweeted it as well. It's very effeminate at the end of the day, but hey, that's Tom Leykis speaking right now, and he ain't the same Tom Leykis that we knew 15, 20 years ago. He's a changed man. The guy's softer than cotton wool, and the man is just looking for an excuse to still stay out there and sort of, speak about him. I'd be interested to know if he actually said something about Kevin on his subscriber-only radio show, podcast, whatever it is. But, I mean, time will tell if we actually see anything or hear anything. But I'll catch us on the next one. If you like, drop the like down there. Drop your comments in the thoughts below. Kevin Samuels, Tom Leykis, Patrice O'Neill, Rollo Tomasi, whoever else you want to throw in there. I mean, Eddie Murphy from Raw, from his stand-up, he gave us some RP bombs in there as well, or some truths, if you will. Let me know your comments down below. I'll catch you on the next one.